For decades, the consumer electronics industry followed a familiar formula: build a better device, add new features, improve performance, convince customers to upgrade, and repeat. That strategy helped create some of the most successful companies in history: Apple, Samsung, Sony, Microsoft, and many others built global empires selling products people wanted to own. Every few years, there was a new breakthrough: a better smartphone, a thinner laptop, a larger television, a faster gaming console. Consumers eagerly upgraded because the improvements were obvious. The future of consumer electronics seemed straightforward. But today, the industry is facing a challenge it hasn't faced in years. What happens when devices become good enough? Modern smartphones are incredibly powerful. Modern laptops can last for years. Modern televisions deliver stunning picture quality. And modern gadgets are capable of far more than most people actually need. As a result, companies are finding it harder to convince consumers to upgrade as frequently as they once did. And that's creating a billion-dollar battle that could shape the future of consumer electronics for the next decade. Because the biggest companies in technology are no longer just competing to build better devices. They're competing to redefine what consumer electronics should become. And nobody wants to be left behind. One of the clearest signs of this battle is the slowdown in upgrade cycles. Years ago, many consumers replaced smartphones every 2 or 3 years. New features felt revolutionary. The difference between generations was obvious. Today, many people keep devices much longer. The latest phone may be faster. The latest laptop may be more efficient. But for many users, the improvements no longer feel essential. That's a major problem for an industry built around upgrades. If customers stop upgrading, revenue growth becomes harder, and that's forcing companies to rethink their strategies. Instead of asking how to build better hardware, they're increasingly asking how to create better experiences. That shift is becoming the defining battle of the consumer electronics industry. Apple is one of the companies at the center of this fight. For years, the iPhone helped define the modern technology era. But Apple understands something important. The future cannot depend entirely on smartphones forever. The company continues investing in wearables, services, ecosystem integration, and next-generation consumer technology because it knows consumer electronics is evolving. The goal is no longer just selling devices. It's becoming an indispensable part of customers' daily lives. Samsung faces a similar challenge. The company remains one of the world's largest electronics manufacturers. Smartphones, displays, home appliances, televisions, semiconductors. Samsung participates in almost every major consumer electronics category. But it also understands that hardware alone is becoming less of a differentiator. The future may depend on how devices work together, rather than how devices perform individually. That's why ecosystem strategies are becoming increasingly important. Microsoft is pursuing a different path. While many people associate Microsoft with software,
Back constantly. Messages, alerts, recommendations, reminders, limited time offers, personalized suggestions, all carefully designed to interrupt attention and redirect it toward company platforms. Streaming platforms use similar tactics. Autoplay systems reduce moments where users might stop watching. Algorithms constantly recommend new content before attention fades. The goal is keeping consumers engaged continuously for as long as possible. And artificial intelligence is making this battle even more intense. AI systems now analyze massive amounts of behavioral data to predict what keeps people engaged longest. What headlines trigger clicks? What videos hold attention? What emotions drive interaction? What notifications bring users back fastest? Businesses use this information to optimize engagement at extraordinary levels. That means platforms increasingly understand consumer behavior better than consumers understand themselves. And attention optimization is spreading far beyond technology. Retailers now use apps to create habit-driven shopping behavior. Restaurants push loyalty systems tied to frequent engagement. Airlines use reward systems to increase emotional attachment. Fitness apps use streaks and milestones to encourage constant interaction. Even productivity apps increasingly gamify behavior. The reason is simple. Engaged consumers spend more. Another major reason businesses are fighting so aggressively for attention is advertising economics. Traditional advertising became less effective over time. Consumers learned to ignore many ads completely, so businesses realized they needed something stronger than occasional advertisements. They needed ongoing engagement. Instead of interrupting attention briefly, companies now want to own attention continuously. That is why ecosystems became so important. Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix. These companies are not just selling products anymore. They are building systems designed to keep consumers inside their platforms as much as possible. Because once businesses control attention, they gain enormous influence over future spending behavior. And there is another reason companies are becoming more aggressive. Growth is slowing in many industries. For years, businesses could rely heavily on expanding customer bases. But now markets feel more saturated. Most consumers already have smartphones, streaming subscriptions, social media accounts, shopping apps, delivery services. Finding entirely new users became harder. So businesses shifted focus toward maximizing engagement from existing customers instead. That means increasing screen time, increasing interaction frequency, increasing emotional attachment, increasing habit formation. Attention became the growth strategy. And companies increasingly use psychology to strengthen that strategy. Scarcity, notifications, streaks, variable rewards, personalized recommendations, countdown timers. These systems trigger emotional responses that keep consumers engaged longer. Many businesses now study behavioral psychology almost as seriously as product development itself, because emotionally engaged users are far more profitable than passive customers. But consumers are starting to feel the effects. People increasingly complain about digital exhaustion, notification fatigue, shorter attention spans, constant distraction. Many consumers feel like every app, service, and platform is fighting aggressively for mental space all the time. And honestly, they are. Because companies know something extremely important. If they lose attention, they often lose revenue shortly after. That creates enormous pressure to keep consumers engaged continuously. At the same time, businesses argue that personalization improves user experience. Better recommendations, faster convenience, more relevant content, smarter services. And to be fair, many consumers genuinely enjoy those benefits. But underneath the convenience is a much larger economic reality. Modern businesses increasingly depend on controlling engagement itself. And perhaps the biggest reason the attention battle is getting more aggressive is this. Attention has become directly connected to corporate survival. The companies that control consumer attention most effectively often gain the strongest advertising power, the most customer data, the highest retention, and the most predictable revenue. That makes attention incredibly valuable, which is why businesses are no longer competing only on product quality or pricing anymore. They are competing for time, habits, routines, emotions, and focus. Because in today's economy, consumer attention may be the most important resource companies can capture, and every major business in America knows it.